Welcome to 21st Sports, and we're talking the New York Giants at the Minnesota Vikings in their Monday Night Football matchup played Week 4, October 3rd, 2016. And this game, we saw on Sunday Night Football an offense dominating a team, and on Monday Night Football, we saw a defense dominating a team, and that was the Minnesota Vikings defense. Their defense dominated the Giants, shut them down. They didn't let the Giants put up all but 3 points through the first 3 quarters. The Giants didn't get into the end zone until the fourth. And that Vikings defense, I'll tell you, they really are an excellent defense. One of the top defenses definitely in the NFC, if not the NFL. And in the first quarter, we saw the Vikings get on the board with a touchdown by Matt Asiata, a 1-yard run. I've seen the Vikings doing this without AP, and it was 7-0. So after the first, and then in the second, Sam Bradford hit Kyle Rudolph for a 7-yard touchdown, and it was 14-0. The Giants finally got on the board in the closing seconds of the second quarter, right before halftime. Josh Brown, a 40-yard field goal to make it 14-3. So the Giants just dominated the Vikings rather. The Giants got dominated. The Vikings defense dominated them in the first half, shut them down, and they only allowed those 3 points. And then in the third, they shut them out again, and they put up 3 points of their own. Blair Walsh, a 44-yard field goal to make it 17-3. Then in the fourth, the Giants finally got on the board. Orleans Darkwa with the 1-yard touchdown to make it a 7-point game. So it was still in reach at this point. It's the Vikings. They don't win with their offense, but that defense is so good. And the thing is, their defense led to 10 points in this game with the forced turnovers, the fumble and the interception. And that's the thing, we have a defense that even if they don't score, they can put you in a position to score. That takes a lot of pressure off the offense. And the offense, of course, put another 7 on the board to make sure to just solidify the lead, push it back to 2 scores, push it back to double digits. And Jerick McKinnon with that 4-yard touchdown run to make it 24-10. The defense did the rest. They held it down. And the Vikings are undefeated. 4-0, first place in the NFC, first place in the NFC North. The Giants now fall to 500. They're still in good shape in that NFC East, a very competitive NFC East, which could go any which way. But the Vikings, they are a team to be reckoned with. They are the team right now that's really hot, especially that defense is playing at an exceptionally high level. And that defense continues to play the way they're playing. They can ride this one all the way through the playoffs. Sky's the limit. They'll go as far as that defense takes them. And as long as Sam Bradford continues to play mistake-free football, and they get that production out of McKinnon and Asiata, not a lot of yards, but he does come in there for those bruising, short yardage situations. And he did get that touchdown. He found the end zone. So with that attack, they can, win games, and they've showed that they're 4-0. But let's look at Bradford on the day, 26 for 36, 262 yards and a touchdown. McKinnon, 18 carries for 85 yards. That's good production and a touchdown as well. And then Asiata, he only had 6 attempts for 6 yards. It's just 1 yard per carry, but he did have that touchdown. He's a bruising back, and he got in the end zone. That's his role. That's the thing, is the Vikings are a team, and they win as a team. So Johnson had 2 receptions for 70 yards, and Rudolph, the tight end, 5 receptions, 55 yards, and a touchdown. And on the other side, Eli Manning, he was trying to carry that load, but 25 for 45, a lot of passes thrown, not so many completions. And even though 25 completions is a lot, but when you consider he threw 45 passes, that's not so much. 261 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. So Eli getting shut down by that Vikings defense, and the running game was almost non-existent. They didn't really attempt too many runs, but Darkwa, 12 carries for 48 yards. Not bad. He did have that touchdown. Of course, that came in the fourth. And it was still a game at that point. But against the defense like the Vikings, the points are few and far between. They only allowed the 10 points in this game. They've only allowed 50 this season. So Perkins did have 2 catches for 72 yards and Cruz 5 catches for 50 yards. And of course, what everyone's talking about, ODB, Odell Beckham Jr., just 3 catches for 23 yards. Not much production at all as he got shut down. And we look at the defense. It's not like big numbers. They had the interception by Rhodes, but what that defense doesn't necessarily translate to stats per se, because like I said, it's a team effort. It's all of them together as a team, working as a cohesive unit, and they got a lot of really good players. It's like as if every single player on that defense is just an all-pro, and they work as a cohesive unit, and they just shut it down. And you look at that on third down, as they only allowed 2 first downs on third down out of 12 attempts. But first downs in the game, 22-18 in favor of the Vikings. And as I said, on third down, the Giants were just 2 of 12, just 16%. And when a defense forces the 3 and out, 10 3 and outs like that, well, not 10 3 and outs, but they force you to have to punt the ball after, on 10 times out of 12, I mean, you're not going to win if you can't move those chains. And on fourth down, the Giants were 0 for 2. Whereas on the other side, the Vikings, 8 for 16, 50%. So they're moving the chains on the other side, and they're doing that with a balanced attack. In total net yards, 366 for Minnesota, 333 for New York. They said New York actually averaged more yards per rushing play, 4.3 versus 3.2, but they relied too heavily on the pass. They asked Eli to do too much. They need to find more balance, especially against a defense like the Vikings. You can't just line up and try to pass the ball and expect to actually get some production against that defense. So, we look at the penalties. 8 penalties against New York, 69 penalty yards. 6 penalties against Minnesota, 37 penalty yards. 1 fumble for New York, which they lost. Like I said, the fumble and the interception put the offense in position to score. So the Vikings, they forced the fumble, they forced the interception. The offense gets 10 points out of it. That's 10 points on the board. They won 24-10. That's the difference in the game right there, is that defense putting the offense in a position to win. And then also the offense, eating up some clock and keeping the defense from having to be on the field the whole game as they were getting those first downs on third down. And they also, you look at the time of possession, 35 minutes, 32 seconds for Minnesota versus 24 minutes, 28 seconds for New York. And you look at the red zone production of Minnesota, 3 for 3. So they capitalized in the red zone 100% in this game, getting it done on the ground. McKinnon with the red zone touchdown. He also had Asiata with the red zone touchdown. And so they getting it in the end zone from the red zone. And then, of course, as well with, Rudolph with that touchdown as well, getting it to the tight end down there in that short yardage situation down inside the red zone. And then on the other side, New York in the red zone, 1 for 2, just 50%. And that's the thing, the Vikings, they did let them get in the red zone, but only twice, and only let them get in there once. So you can stop the other team from getting the end zone, you're going to win. 9 times out of 10, probably 99 out of 100 times. But Vikings are looking really strong, but let me know what you think in the comments section below. Which plays and performances stuck out to you? Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. Hope you're having a good day and had a great week and enjoyed all the sports.